Today, I'm going to be answering my most asked question that I get when streaming, comments on videos. Why old gen? And should you play old or new? I'm going to be answering everything, explaining it all. Do me a favour, let's try and hit 200 likes on the video. Subscribe if you are new for educational FIFA videos. And comment below which version of the game do you play. Hopefully you enjoy this, and let's get into it. If you want the cheapest FC24 coins to get ahead of the competition, check out MMOEXP by clicking the link down below and use code JambooUK for 5% off. Okay, so as you guys can see, we do have some gameplay on the screen. We've got old gen on the left and new gen on the right. The gameplay, I mean, it's not really the sole focus in terms of you guys having to watch, but you can just have a look while you're listening and see sort of the differences. I'm going to do my best to explain like everything from gameplay to other reasons that I prefer playing the old gen version of the game. And it's just my opinion. There's going to be things that maybe you prefer about new gen. Maybe you want to join me over playing old gen. I've played hundreds of games on both as well. I'm not old gen exclusive, but I've got enough experience on both to give some good reasons as to why I prefer old. So you can probably notice straight away from the gameplay that old gen is more snappy. It feels more responsive in game as well. I sort of think of it as more of a, it's what FIFA used to be, sort of more arcadey. You don't get as much animation. That's something that you have in the new gen, which you may like. You know, if you prefer the realism aspect. Then old gen does have, then new gen, sorry, does have a lot of that. You know, the new animations, like the, like controlled, lengthy, all that stuff. It has them as we score an absolute screamer of a finesse on the right hand side at new gen. But yeah, in terms of like graphics, animations, you're gonna enjoy new gen, you know, for that. For me personally, I would always take a more responsive, higher skill gap game, and I definitely think that old gen is that. Obviously, like, I'm a retired pro player now. There's no need for me to play new gen. I don't need to practice on it like I did in previous years. I just play the game mainly for weekend league, and there's a few different advantages to playing weekend league on old gen. So the first reason, obviously, as I already spoke about, is the fact that the skill gap is higher. Like, it's more responsive. I feel like I can just easily break down people. The game flows quicker, so there's not as much sort of drop back, AI defending, that sort of stuff. Like, it's still in the game, of course, but it's nowhere near as sort of prevalent as it is on newer gen. The other thing is, for whatever reason, and I'm gonna guess it's because there's still more players on old gen than there is new, so the player base is wider. And you get easier matchmaking, like far easier matchmaking. And for me, because I play like 5 weekend leagues plus every weekend because of my weekend league service, I would rather take the easier rewards, the easier wins, and just a more pleasant experience in the weekend league, not as challenging, more relaxed. And when you have the combination of a higher skill gap game, quicker responsiveness, and easier matchmaking, at least in my opinion, you know, you're going to have more fun. It's sort of the argument for, you know, the latest CODs with the skill-based matchmaking. I feel like a lot of people would have more fun with easier games. I think it makes perfect sense. So you do get easier matchmaking on old gen, and that is definitely an advantage. I don't know how you guys feel about the realism aspect of it. Like, for me, like I said, I would much rather play the more responsive, arcadey type FIFA. I don't load up FIFA personally to be like, wow, that actually looks like Haaland. Like, I would rather play some more ping-pongy sort of football, quicker paced, and break people down. But I get that some people are going to like the graphics and maybe how it feels more like a real football match on newer gen. Not that I don't really agree. Like, I think new gen is more plagued with animations that are there to make it seem more realistic, but actually just make the game slower and worse. So that's the main reason in terms of like weekend league. I just prefer. I'm an old school FIFA player, so for me, I've been playing for the last sort of 15 plus years, and this is the closest you're gonna get on old gen. Like it's the closest you're gonna get to the old school type of FIFA. Like I think back to like FIFA 16, and it's still not quite on that level for like ping pong arcadey gaming, but it's definitely got more of that feel to it. New gen is a lot more about, you know, broken animations, the new like play styles, which are on old gen as well, the play styles, but it's not as prevalent. And then you've got stuff like lengthy and like the accelerate types that just aren't on old gen. Like a quick player just feels like a quick player no matter what, and it doesn't change as drastically player to player as it does on new gen. Like I would say new gen's more pay to win as well, in terms of, for example, Van Dijk. Like he's obviously good on old gen as well, but on new gen he's an absolute monster due to the lengthy, due to the way players play, and I just think that the game in general is more pay to win on the new gen version, just in the sense of how the stats actually work. You'll find that you can compete not just because of the easier matchmaking and stuff, but just in general. Like if you played someone the same ability as you on new and old gen, if they had a better team, it's going to be a lot more prevalent on the new gen version. So for me, to sum it up in a nutshell, quicker, more responsive gameplay compared to the realism and animations of new gen, which can be quite cool. You know, like even in the trailer for this game, you had Haaland scoring like the acrobatic thing. It's stuff like that that you're able to get in the new gen experience. But I would be interested to know your guys' thoughts. My overall opinion, if you want the higher skill gap, quicker version of the game, you go to old gen, and you will also get rewarded with easier matchmaking. If you load up FIFA very casually, you know, to play a realistic football game, even though it isn't that, you would definitely be leaning more towards the new gen version. But that's not for me, you know. Exact same with Call of Duty, other games. I would rather the old school style where it was more quick and snappy. But let me know you guys' thoughts. Some of you may disagree. I think I'm, you know, completely losing my mind. But it's an interesting discussion for sure. And I'm also interested to know like how long they'll persist with with old gen. Sorry, it's got to be at least a couple more years, I would expect. But thank you for watching the video. Hopefully this clears up, because I get so many people ask, you know, why I play on old gen. So hopefully that clears it up. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and peace.